Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for joining today's webinar, where we're going to discuss syncing construction billings and accounting with Flashtract and Foundation. So first, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. There's two of us today doing a joint overview of our products. I'm here on the left. That is me, Garrett Fuller, with Foundation, and on the right, that is Ben Connery with Flashtract as the CRO at their company. So for today's review, first, I want to point out a couple quick things. One, if there's questions, there is an area in the GoToWebinar control panel for you to go ahead and type in questions, which we'll do our best to address and kind of scan on those throughout the brief review. And of course, we have contact information there if you have questions about Foundation, if you're a Foundation user that has questions for Flashtract, right? Our information's there to get into some of more of the guts of the both products, right? Both solutions. So today we're going to do a quick review of Foundation and Flashtract and talk about the points of integration that we can talk between the two platforms. Saying that, Ben's going to start on his side, giving some of the benefits of Flashtract and some of the things that they offer with helping contractors with billings and AIAs, lien waivers, and managing subcontractor payments and some other things. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and flip to Ben first, and then we'll come back to the Foundation side in a little bit. And again, feel free to ask questions as we go through this, and we will go from there. All right, so Ben, I just flipped over to you, and hopefully we have the ability to pop your screen up.
Perfect. Garrett, is my screen sharing now?
You are perfect, Ben. Thanks.
Perfect. Well, Garrett, thank you for that introduction. Thanks for everyone for joining on this Wednesday, St. Patrick's Day. I have my green on, so I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. A little bit more about myself. I'm one of the co-founders here at Flashtract. From the very beginning, we were looking to really build a solution with one central mission, which was to remove all manual and paper-based billing and payment processes from general contracting and subcontracting companies. So at our core, what we do is we're a payment application and lien waiver management software. And from the beginning, we've really tried to stay focused on creating easy to use software that doesn't take weeks or months to implement and learn. Rather, should only take about an hour or two to get set up and actually using Flashtract's solution. So we work alongside a lot of popular accounting, project management, and ERP solutions, which is why I'm really excited to be here today with Foundation. Our solution complements those solutions really well. And we focus a lot in the document management, billing, and payment management space. So one of the things that we're very proud of at Flashtract is 100% of the subs that have been invited to the Flashtract platform by a general contractor have successfully signed up and billed through our platform, which kind of transitions onto my next slide, and it's talking a little bit more about our platform. So we have two products, one that's predominantly for general contractors and another that is for subcontractors as well. So when we first brought our product to market, we reached out to general contractors, and our solution kind of helped in three major areas. The first area was really to prevent math errors in the billing process. Our solution allows you to bill against a schedule of values. So if you just key in your progress percentage, our system will perform all calculations for total completed and stored to date, retainage, balance to finish, etc. In addition, the contractors we work with enjoy the document controls and standardization that our system puts in place. So in Flashtract, you can set up custom rules, you can set up custom lien waiver documents, and our system will pretty much generate any sort of custom document for subcontractors that can be electronically signed and submitted along with the bill. Lastly, our system provides some automation and standardization, like I said, so you can set up custom approval workflows in our system to really save time in the subcontractor billing process. So after launching our product, a lot of subcontractors started reaching out saying, hey, we really like this solution. It's helping us bill our general contractors in a more efficient manner. They would say things like, hey, it's a big frustration for me. I have to learn how to fill out 10 different pay app forms and 7 different lien waivers for every single general contractor I work with. Can you provide a system for me to bill my general contractors that aren't necessarily on the Flashtract platform? And that's when our subcontractor standalone solution was born. So we launched that product. It helps subcontractors standardize and streamline their billing process. So at a high level, our solution allows subs to invoice monthly against a schedule of values. They just key in the work they've completed this period and any material stored, and then our system can generate any sort of custom general contractor pay app, owner lien waiver, etc. So super excited now. I'm going to actually jump into the product and kind of give you a spin around and show you what it looks like from a subcontractor and general contractor perspective. So now pulling up into my Flashtract account, I am logged in right now as a subcontractor. So in this particular workflow, what I'll be taking you through is showing you what it looks like if you have both the general contractor and the subcontractor on the platform. So I'm logged in as a subcontractor. I've been invited to a project. Really, the main difference between our standalone solution and the one I'll be showing you today is that the standalone solution, you just create the project and create the contract rather than being invited to the project and contract. So as a subcontractor, I'll just accept my project invitation and be taken to the subcontract overview page where I see the subcontract that I've been invited to. So I'll simply just click on that subcontract, and now I'll be taken to the subcontract details page where I can see all of the contract terms that have been predefined. So I can see the original contract amount, any change orders that have been issued, as well as the retainage rate. So some of these contract terms that you're seeing, as well as high-level project data, that's some of the information that Garrett will be talking about later on today in regards of some of the information we can actually pull from foundations to reduce any double data entry. So after you review these contract terms, you'll simply just accept the invitation, and now you'll get started setting up your schedule of values. So in our system, those can be created in a variety of ways. They can be imported into our system via Excel or CSV spreadsheet, or you can just get started manually and just create your schedule of values just by typing in a description of work and then a dollar value that correlates with each line item. So as I build my schedule of values, you'll notice that if I try to create a line item that exceeds my current contract amount, we'll flag it just to help make sure that your SOV does in fact sum up to your contract total. So after you have set up your schedule values in Flashtract once and it sums up to your current contract amount, you'll be able to save that schedule values, and now it'll be saved for the duration of the project. So when you're ready to invoice in our system, it's quite simple. It's a 3-step process. You'll just click the Edit Invoice Items button, and the 3 columns that become editable in order to invoice is this period, material stored, and % complete. So you can key in a dollar value into this period column. If you're billing for material stored, you can key in that dollar value as well. Or if you just think in terms of progress percentages, just type in that value and we'll back into the dollar value according to the progress percentage you keyed in. So after you've entered in the values you'd like to invoice, you just click Save. Flashtract will perform those calculations for you, completed and stored to date, retain this period, earn less retainage, payment due, etc. And now you'll click Review Documents and Submit Bill. So at this point in time, this is where we're actually able to take any sort of custom document that's part of the billing process and pull that document in and actually populate all of the fields in the document. So for instance, we're located here in Atlanta, Georgia, so I have the state of Georgia's lien waiver right here, and you can see that we're actually populating this lien waiver with the payment due, the address of the project, etc. So you have the ability to electronically sign the lien waiver document, but you also have the ability to sign and notarize the document off of the system. Next, we'll generate a AIA style payment application. So you can see in this particular use case, it's a G702, G703 document, so you'll be able to electronically sign that as well. So after we have generated all of your documents, if the general contractor is on the platform, you just submit the bill directly to them. If they are not on the platform, we can actually email distribute this pay request to the proper party at the general contractor. So both work. So right now, that's kind of the submission workflow. And what I'll briefly take you through is the approval process from a general contractor side. So I will now be logging out and logging back in to show you what the approval process looks like as a general contractor. So logging in on my Flashtract dashboard, I immediately see the projects that have work pending my approval. I can jump inside the project. I see a list of all of my subcontracts that I'm currently managing on the given project. I can see any sort of status of what's happening, so I can drill down inside a subcontract. We have the ability to set up, like I said, some workflow automation and automated billing reminders, but just for the sake of time, I'm just going to jump straight into the subcontract and kind of show you what it looks like to review the work. So you can look at the schedule values, you can view any of the generated documents, you have the ability to decline a bill and leave a comment on a line item by line item basis, or you easily can approve the bill. So after you approved work in our system, we will automatically email all the parties that are involved on this project, letting them know that work's been approved. And then several things can happen. One, we can actually export this data directly into your accounting system to reduce any data entry on that side. We can also run some reports to help kind of generate fully backed bills if you're doing any cost plus work. And then we also have the ability to do some automated email distribution to automatically notify accounting with a copy of the documents as well. So all three are common use cases for kind of how accounting gets notified once operations approves the work in our system. So the last thing that I'll be kind of touching on today is just kind of going through one more slide I have. And this slide kind of represents a process that probably many of us have to follow in regards to processing invoices and payment applications. And this is what a lot of our customers were experiencing before Flashtract. So you're having to do things like collect pay apps via email, check to make sure the backup documentation's been submitted, track down missing lien waivers, coordinate with the project manager, try to get them to actually review the stuff that's sitting on their desk. And so before Flashtract, a lot of companies were sitting around about a 12-step process that took multiple days at the end of the month. And then after implementing our solution, we're able to cut down a lot of those manual and paper-based processes, especially when we can tie in nicely into accounting, ERP, or project management software. So I think this will be a good transition for me to now pass it back over to Garrett for him to jump into the foundation solution. So let me see if I can stop my share and change the presenter real quick. Garrett, is it back to you?
When we go through this side, now you should see the main screen of foundation on the template here. So about foundation, and thanks here for the time for those of you that already do own foundation. This would be a brief review of some things here, but otherwise, yeah, we're going to walk through where we would take over on construction accounting, project management, and a few other quick pieces. Now, it's a pretty in-depth software in a good way. We offer a lot. So today will just be a quick review, and we'll talk about some of the features we have. As it says here, we've been in business since 1985. All direct, no third parties, no dealerships, which is pretty unique with foundation. Everything we do is in-house from a support relationship standpoint. Small to mid-sized contractors. So what's nice too with Flashtract and foundation, it's the same target market for the most part, right? Whether that's a company that's doing a few million in revenue to a few $100 million in revenue, but in general, a lot of a similar space of clients. Companies who have grown off the shelf products, like they've outgrown a QuickBooks, right? Or they're on a system that's older and they need to upgrade to more current technology. Roughly 6,000 active clients using Foundation, and obviously that's continuing to grow, and will continue to do so. So let's take a look at the software at the very top. On the login screen, that's our core classic modules. Okay, so that's job costing, accounting, construction payroll, whether it's a general contractor that subs out the payroll or a labor-intensive contractor that has a lot of payroll needs, like certified payroll, union payroll, tracking labor and burden to the jobs, payables, receivables. So those are a lot of the classics. And then the middle section primarily, it just depends on the type of contractor, what their needs are. Are they a heavy equipment type company? Maybe they need that module to track their equipment utilization and preventative maintenance. Is it a company that manages an inventory, whether it's direct inventory to a job or an actual stock of material that they're tracking in-house? A lot of our clients do a wide variety of construction billings, right? Whether it's AIA billings, like Ben had discussed earlier with the schedule of values, whether it's time and material billing, unit price billing, which is a quantity-driven billing, say by linear feet, cubic yards, something of that nature. Project management, taking the system a little bit further, more than just the classic job cost accounting, maybe helping with RFIs, transmittals, RFPs, RFCs, so just getting a little bit more detail and document flow. And then we have scheduling, like a Gantt chart tool, and then the ability to kind of go paperless with our imaging module. So let's start off real quick here, just going through some of the basics. At our heart, a lot of people come to us for job costing, right? That's one of the key things that they're either doing in Excel, or maybe they are getting some job costing, but they just need to get a more current solution or something a little bit better. Now, there's a lot of preloaded job cost reporting in our system, and then we also have the ability to use our built-in report writer, which is drop and drag for some custom reports if that is something that happens. So at a glance here, maybe I'm a project manager coming in to see my jobs. Here's our contract total, what we've billed, estimated and actual cost, profit summary for our jobs. So very, very high level to start. Estimated cost, actual cost. Now, if we want to click into a job, great. You can dive right in by clicking on one. If I hit View Report, that'll take us to just a more classic looking report showing our estimated profit, actual profit, percentage of completion on our job, for example. And you'll note things that are blue are items that I can click on. So my job numbers are blue. So if I click into one here, we're just going to dive into that job a little bit further. Now, we're still in a summary mode for at least this job. And another quick point, I mean, if you open Foundation and want to run the most detailed, say job cost report, you of course can. I just started off in this more summary level view where now I can see the job's profitability, what that contract looks like with change orders broken out separately, committed cost, managing subcontracts, or purchase orders through our system and seeing what's been billed on those. And typically what a lot of companies are going to do, again, is see that cost and how that's broken down on their jobs. So in this case, this job is roughly $200,000. If I click the link here for job cost detail, this is going to show that cost broken down by the categories or cost codes on that job. These are the tasks that we've performed. Now, it can be a split for our clients as far as how they do their job costing in regards to, are they using some type of cost code structure or phase codes, or is it more of just tracking the classic cost buckets like labor, material, subcontracts, maybe equipment and burden. So there's not an exact way you'd have to do your job costing per se, it's what fits. And these are just sample categories. Some people have framing, drywall. Some people have, like I show here, earthwork or, general conditions. So as I click into any of these categories though, for example, if I click into this earthwork, which had about $28,000 of cost, it's going to break that down so I can see that cost broken down by the labor. the material, subcontract cost, equipment. I had some burden, of course, because of payroll. And that burden is the company's share of FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' comp, potentially fringes. And it's nice because I can still keep going and getting into some detail. See the backup labor detail, right? The time card history that made up that cost. Maybe click into, let's say, material expenses or subcontract cost, right? So here's material cost for that specific task. Maybe see the invoice if that's attached in the system, blow it up. So, generally speaking, getting this detail back out should be the, relatively speaking, easy part in Foundation. There's a lot of other options for job reporting, from, projected cost, forecasting type reports. For example, WIP reports like this, more classic over-under billing, or some people call these a bonding report. So again, there's a lot of options, some very summarized job reports, some very detailed job cost reports. And it really just depends on how you want to see that data and what's the best for you. So there is a lot of preloaded reports, as I mentioned, and again, they are customizable with our report writing tool. Change order management, just another quick mention on a few key things. Of course, you can track, where the job started, the original contract amount, estimated cost. Regarding that estimated cost, we do have the ability to pull an estimate or budget from Excel, from third-party estimating softwares. So we can populate that through an import, or of course, users can just key in an estimate on the job record, especially if it's not something that they're going to do in detail. But as change orders are tracked, which we can, of course, track change orders, maybe see profitability on these change orders, but once they're marked approved, that is what's bumping up that title that says revised contract. So pending, rejected, in those examples, that's not affecting that updated total for the contract and estimated cost on the projects. Financial summaries. Now, of course, we have security. So a user, when they log into Foundation's main menu, they'd only see what they should see. If a user can't see payroll, or maybe they can do payroll, but only for, say, field employees and not for an executive or two, that's available. So there's very detailed options on the security level, which I was mentioning here because I popped into this financial summary. And again, maybe a user just doesn't have access to that type of detail because it doesn't apply to their role or their position. Cash flow reporting, seeing what's in our checking, savings account balances, job cash flow. So this is a nice report for a lot of our clients where they can see cash that's been received, cash that's gone out through AP and payroll, open payable and receivable reporting. Retainage is very basic to track within Foundation. Hold retainage, release retainage when it's appropriate to do so. And I'm just kind of scratching the surface for some of the reports within that dashboard tool. As you'll see on the main menu, every module has its own reporting center, from basic things like a trial balance or balance sheet or an income statement or, profit and loss, depending on terminology, right? So you're not losing core, per se, accounting functionality here. It's the whole construction backbone to the system that has the additional benefits. When we talk about getting cost into the system, we of course get the project set up. We can manage our jobs, even take bid tracking in the system so we can see what we've bid on, the win-loss percentages for our bids, convert those to jobs if they're awarded. If I pull up a simple project here, we can see, who is the customer, the project manager, job type. Maybe we want to run reports and see all of our commercial jobs and their profitability, maybe residential, service. Maybe you have schools, hospitals, retail, storefronts, depending on the type of work that you're doing. And again, a lot of it just starts here. And so we get the job created, and then we're off to, collecting labor, maybe getting subcontract and material cost in the system. We do have mobile applications as well to collect that labor from the field. And I won't dive into any, the rest of some of these things in any detail, but whether it's a individual employee keying in their time remotely or clocking in and out with geotagging capabilities, a foreman approach for maybe a lead person on the jobs keying in time. And we have other options from the mobile application as well, weather snapshots, material used, equipment used, notes, daily logs from the mobile application. And it feeds back into Foundation, so it's all real time and we're able to get our payroll processed, right? Produce our certified payroll reporting, produce potentially our union reporting, which we do an excellent job with all of those calculations and variables that come up with labor-intensive contractors. And again, if it is not a labor-intensive contractor, totally fine and normal. You just may not have the more detailed payroll needs within the application. Now, there's more, right? We've committed cost tracking, looking at subcontracts issued, purchase orders potentially issued. What have we been billed or invoiced against those commitments, right? So here's a nice summary report with these committed costs. There's a subcontractor that I was using, what I was billed, what I was paid out to them, what's left. And so, we do have some validation on these commitments as well, where in accounts payable, we're not able to be overbilled from a sub or from a vendor, right? Because we would connect that PO or sub to our invoice entry and make sure that we're not, again, overbilled, maybe get notified of any expired workers' comp or insurance certificates. We're also able to use attachments for billings. And really throughout the system, right? To, again, going kind of paperless, where I can, for example, attach a PDF or a scanned image of an invoice, so now it's part of our system long term, and potentially route that for approval. Maybe this is going to get routed to this project manager, and we have routing rules, so maybe that's a saved invoice. It's not officially complete yet or posted in our terminology because it's routed to an approver, maybe for their jobs, or maybe it gets routed based on dollar value. Anything over $10,000 routed to the owner or the controller. But that approver is able to come in, and I'll bounce out of here quickly, to go see their invoices, right, and make sure that they're coded properly. Did they go to the right job? Did they get coded to the right cost code or phase of the project? And again, potentially say it's good to go, or maybe revise it. So again, and there's a lot to dive into and digest with a system like this, but initially just trying to cover briefly a high level of things that we offer, from job cost accounting, mobile solutions, project management and scheduling, and technically a few more key things. Now, saying that, let's talk and wrap up with some of the data points, right? The integration points between Foundation and Flashtract and where we're going. So, as Ben mentioned earlier on the left, these are some items that Flashtract does a great job with helping contractors with, from managing their jobs, right? So the job integration between the two platforms. And notice there's arrows going back and forth from, hey, we can push and pull from both parties. So terminology's sake, projects and Flashtract to jobs and Foundation, subcontracts to subcontracts between the two platforms, change orders against those subcontracts going from, say, Flashtract to Foundation, vendors from Foundation, from the accounting side, right, to Flashtract or vice versa. On the Flashtract side, total approved pay apps, right, the payment due, getting kicked back to Foundation to our accounts payable to avoid that duplicate entry. AIA billings, right? Those progress billings and scheduled values that are accomplished through Flashtract, of course, would populate into Foundation as an accounts receivable invoice to, again, avoid a company from having to go do a re-entry of that information and have to do that all over again. Now, there's different options for how this data passes back and forth, and as we've been working with Flashtract, we're improving and making that more automated over time. And these are, that's an example of really like anything else we've talked about today. Ben walking through Flashtract and their benefits and what they offer, me showing briefly foundation and things that we do, and making sure that people understand the benefits of both products. And we're more than happy to dive into some of these in more detail with anybody. Contact information, of course, is on the screen. We do also send out a link to anybody who registered or attended the webinar to go rewatch this, right? Share with somebody else at their company, for example. And again, I'm more than happy to go on with personal reviews and demonstrations or just simple calls, right, with anybody that has questions between myself and Ben. We're more than happy to help. I was looking through some questions previously. I believe we have our items covered. Unless Ben has a few things to add, which I'll pause for that. Again, thanks everybody for the brief opportunity here to talk about Foundation and Flashtract together. And with that being said, Ben, if you had anything to wrap up, I'll leave that to you. And thanks again, everybody, for attending.
Well, thanks, Garrett, for that. I think you hit the nail on the head in regards to the integration. And like I said earlier, Flashtract solution works really well alongside some of these job costing, accounting, ERP systems. So if you're interested in learning more about that, feel free to reach out to either Garrett or myself.